I was here when it was built, and I remember when they started broadcasting. Biggest focus was on how the station served the community. He was active in the community and the station.
And he continued that legacy. That is former WBIR General Manager Jim Hart talking about his father, who was instrumental in creating and overseeing our station since the very beginning. That is from an interview some 10 years ago when we marked year 60 here at WBIR.
And this year we are marking year 70, and we have lots of great stories and memories to share.
From Kaz Walker, Dolly Parton, to wrestling in studio, still happens occasionally, to World's Fair, and of course our predecessors here on the news desk.
The original mission, of course, was to serve our community, something we strive to do each and every day. Of all the papers and documents that have come through WBIR, this could be the most important. It's the application to form a television station created by a handful of people with tremendous foresight.
The WBIR comes from Birdwell, who was involved in the radio station. He and another group of people put together the application for the station.
The paperwork would create this area's second television station, WBIR.
It's very, very complete about how local they were going to be. And I think that was a determining factor, that WBIR was going to be driven by local issues. They were going to do a lot of local programming.
For more than 3 decades, Steve Dean helped promote and market WBIR and says having a television station in Knoxville was a true win for a media still in its infancy.
The early years, you pretty much put anything out that somebody's going to watch. Anything that goes out the end of the antenna, somebody's going to watch, because that was the only option. TV was still learning how to do TV. You know, there was a lot of things that they didn't know how to do, and the lighting looked harsh in what you see. And initially, they had a lot of radio people on TV, and those aren't necessarily the same people. You know, that their skills lie in different areas. But it was just a fascination. In the 1950s, to have a television station in your city and to have a way to receive it on your set was like the ultimate thing for a family.
In those early days, Channel 10 provided all types of programming, from children's shows to afternoon movies.
Rex Rainey did a movie show in the afternoons, and so he became a media personality. Where the opportunities were to put something on that the network didn't compete with, the station began to grow audience more and more.
The 11 o'clock news. Your reporter, Carl Williams. Good evening.
In fact, radio personalities soon wound up on television anchoring the news.
Doc Johnston, there was Carl Williams. These are people who came over from radio into TV, and they were very popular.
Dean says of all the people who have passed through our hallways, the Hart family stands out as one of the most influential.
John Hart was a part of the original ownership, and he started the program, and then his son, Jim Hart, had a huge impact on cementing WBIR as the powerhouse that it became.
And that original application, which outlined the very purpose of Channel 10, still remains true to the words written 70 years ago.
And we stuck to that, and I felt like that was what made us as successful as we were.
And we try to stick to that mission each and every day. Steve Dean credits Jim Hart with a lot of wins for the station, including, of course, the beloved Heartland series and our Straight from the Heart slogan, which remains our North Star to this day.
And you can scan a QR code on your screen right now. At our website, you can read much more about the history of Channel 10, and we are grateful to Leanne Bowman, our producer, who helped find those documents just a few days ago and say, hey, we need to pay attention.
Exactly, and there are more surprises to come. Trust me, folks, this is going to be a fun year of celebrating.